Right, it's John McIntyre, Stage Time Promotions. I'm here with Buzz Elliott.
Yep.
And I
Steve
didn't catch
Woods.
your name.
Hell yeah.
Steve Woods. Well seen, I didn't have time to do my homework. From Hammerhead, and you're headlining tonight in Bannermans in Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's our first time here,
Yeah.
Right. First time playing here. You say
Personally, for me, yeah, I've
Right.
not even seen a gig here, so yeah, this
Right.
is a new experience for me, full on.
I've been a few times when there's other bands on, maybe
Aye.
3 times, but I saw what a good venue it was and wanted to
Right.
try and get it on our list.
Excellent, aye, and you've got the brilliant Saints of Arcadia and Stoneface supporting you tonight as well. So all in all, the 3 yous playing for the bargain price of, what was it, £7? £7. That's craziness.
It's all it is, really.
Excellent value.
That is a bargain. It's
I wonder how much
fantastic.
it was when Deep Purple played here.
Aye, that was about 50 pence cheaper.
Oh, really?
Aye. Well, they're a bit shite. How long has Hammerhead been going?
The band sort of started towards the late 70s, or about 77, 78.
Right.
I joined a year or 2 after that.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing as a 3-piece, and then I
Right.
joined. We had 1 or 2 different lineup changes, mainly different drummers at the time.
Right.
You know, like in Spinal Tap. Keep losing drummers for some reason.
Everybody does.
Yeah, and that was our time really, from about 80 through to, well, I got married in 84, and I decided for whatever reason to pack in playing at the time.
Right.
They carried on for a bit.
Right.
2 bad decisions in a row there.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Well, we're still married, so you know it's
Aye.
working out.
Aye.
Yeah, so that was our main time in sort of the early 80s,
Right.
and we released a self-financed single called Time Will Tell, with another track called Lonely Man on the B-side, and that used to get quite a bit of airplay on the Friday Rock Show with Tommy Vance.
Tommy Vance, aye.
And
In the
that was
day.
one of the reasons people sort of further afield started to be aware of us
Right.
for things like that, you know. You know, I was sort of sometimes we'd go like travel maybe 100 mile or more to a gig, and there might only be a handful of people in, and I was getting a bit fed up with that happening, you know.
Aye.
So that was one of the reasons I packed up at the time.
Aye.
Yeah.
When the band actually eventually, it didn't really pack up, but sort of stopped playing, got less and less.
Hiatus is the word, I think.
Well, there was,
Hiatus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
there was
Yeah,
about a
use
10 or
that.
15 year gap where there was hardly anything on, apart from 1 or 2. I think we got back together to play at a couple of charity things. There was a local Live Aid thing around about the same time as Live Aid, so I went back and did that, and that happened a few times, but nothing really happened until 2005 when we reformed it. The original lineup only with the new drummer.
Due to public demand, mostly.
Yeah, we got back. We got back together originally to play at a friend's party. It was like what was it? It was his 40th, I think, or 50th, 40th, I think. Yeah. So we got back together for that with the intention of playing once,
Aye.
and then we sort of kept going.
Aye. Well, like you say, I mean, it's if you've got that public demand there as well to have a wee listen and keep going.
Yeah.
And so you feel that now you're in a place where you're going to push it a bit more, and have you got any newer material written? And
Yeah, well, once we got back together, the first thing we done was we'd already released 1 album, which was a compilation of all the things we recorded back in the day. That was the first album, but of course it was released sort of retrospectively.
Right.
I kind of compiled it together to sell in 2005 when we played at this party. Right. And that led on to a whole lot of activity, you know, because I had a box of about 100 CDs, and I was selling them on eBay. I think the first one that sold in America.
Aye.
And then they were selling all over Europe, and I was thinking, well, how the hell do people know us, you know?
Aye.
But we didn't know, but a lot of the stuff had been, bootleg recordings and things had been floating around on the underground.
Aye.
So we had this kind of like international fan base, well, national fan base, that we sort of weren't really aware of, which led on to being asked to play at 1 or 2 festivals overseas and stuff like that.
Excellent.
after a few years, the rest of the lads were watching Stephen here plays he sings in a Tbilisi tribute band.
That's me.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And
Excellent.
the rest of the lads kept on seeing this band, and they're thinking, he'd be pretty good front row band, he's got all the moves and that,
And the moves like Jagger.
And the thing was, if I'm being honest, the one thing that Hammerhead never had really was a front man.
Right.
I used to do a bit there, but I'm getting older now, so
Aren't we all?
so we didn't really have a focal point there, so Stephen came along, and the rest is history.
Totally by surprise. I mean, the approach initially, obviously, they asked if they could meet up. I thought I'd ask them for some kind of arrangement with the band, maybe do a couple of gigs together or something like that. So obviously, to be approached to play and to sing blew me away, to be honest, because I was a fan.
Stephen was a fan of the band.
Excellent.
So for me to get the opportunity to sing them songs was an honour. I'll say that. I will say that up front. But it was such a buzz as well. It's something I could never turn down. So and I loved it, and it still gives me a massive boost now to this day. So
and I've got to say, bringing Stephen in, it really did make a big difference to the band, because it's more of a show now, Stephen
and you were saying earlier to me, you've played alongside. Shared stages with people like Diamondhead and
Budgie was another one. There've been quite a few well-known bands that we've supported along the years. Some of it back in the day, and some of it since we reformed.
Excellent.
And it's usually gone pretty well.
I think obviously one of the early gigs that I played was at Hard Rock Hell, which again was something I would never be able to achieve in what I was doing previously. And to have that kind of mantle to play from that level was wonderful, and it was a great experience to be involved in that. That led on to a Ibiza trip as well, which is Hard Rock Hell Ibiza road trip.
And the great thing about that was because you played to a few hundred people there, where you know for a fact they're going to like that type of sound.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Black Sabbath were a big influence on our overall sound.
Right.
For the heaviness, but we also had two guitars, so we could do a bit of sort of wishbone-osh type of twin guitar stuff and that sort of thing. And the songs are written with that sort of in mind,
Because that's great. That see when bands pull off that kind of twin guitar sound. Tantrum do it as well. A local band for anywhere here, they do that kind of twin sound as well. So it's really quite good. Tantrum.
I love Tantrum.
I thought I better mention them. Can keep Billy happy.
But of course, since we got back together, and then Stephen joined us, and then so we started thinking, well, maybe we should write some stuff.
Yeah.
So we wrote another album. There was an album released in the middle, which was all the songs from back in the day that we'd never recorded.
Right.
Because we were playing again, I'd said to the lads, well, we really need to get those things down.
Right.
So we went in the studio and recorded all the old songs that we hadn't recorded previously, and that formed the second album. And then on the third album, it was all brand new material we've just written basically since Stephen came along.
Right. And has it always been albums you've been releasing? I know that the kind of format nowadays is a lot of bands will do 4 and 5 track EPs, and it's kind of become the new album. If you like.
Yeah. Well, the middle album, when I see it reviewed in places, they consider it to be an EP because it's only I don't think how long it is. It's 30 odd minutes or something, but maybe 40 minutes. 40 minutes, I think. So they think of it as an EP, but I mean, when we were put it together, I was looking at, because I'm a bit old school, I was looking at it from the point of view of a vinyl release.
Vinyl's back, man.
Yeah,
Vinyl's
so
back.
you want to go 22 minutes per side before you start getting problems with compression and stuff. So that to me, Hedonism, which was the second one, is an album.
Yeah. So how many tracks is that?
There's only 6 songs on there. There's like 3 a side.
That'll be why it's kind of getting seen as an EP type thing. Yeah, but as I say, the EP's kind of become the new album, and it seems to be the route that a lot of bands are going down now.
Yeah.
So do you have plans for a new album in the works? Or?
We've got some writing. Yeah, we're writing quite a bit. We're the songs are coming together nicely. We're not there yet with them until we want to release, but listen to what you've just said. Maybe we have got enough, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you can do an EP, definitely.
We went back in the studio and we recorded enough for one side of a vinyl album. I'm going to be honest, it's basically one track. It's an extended thing, but it's in several parts.
All right,
Yes.
The initial idea of the predominant writer is the bass player Steve, which he often is, but he came to me and I helped him put it together and evolve it into where it's at now.
Right.
And then people threw in ideas with lyrics and stuff like that. And
so have you thought about like a Kickstarter or something like that for an album?
We've always,
because I see some people shy away from it, but I actually think it's a great thing because it gives the fans a chance to actually be involved.
Yeah.
And you know, like directly support the band. So I think it's a great thing, like, and it's great. It's great for exposure. It's great for exposure as well.
Yeah. How we've always done it in the past is we've always done gigs to raise the money.
Yeah.
Use the money to go in the studio,
Right.
and then once we've got a thing that we're happy with, a finished product. There's two options there. If we release it ourselves, we've got enough of a fan base out there internationally to know that. If we sold it ourselves that way, if we made it and sold it, obviously that means a little bit of investment on producing it. You know, if we did that, we would make a lot more money that way.
Aye.
But I kind of like the sort of the kudos of being on a label and stuff like that. You know, and the label that we went with originally have been pretty good with us. You know.
Yeah.
So I sent them the demo, the finished thing really, to listen to. Initially. Strangely, it's a label in Germany called High Roller Records, and the first few songs I sent them, they weren't so keen.
Right.
But once we finished it, they could hear the end product. What happened was I got in touch with them to say what I was wanting to do was to know if their artist would design the sleeve for us because he's a really good artist.
Right.
Yeah, brilliant artist. Even though they weren't released it.
Right.
And so they put me in touch with the artist. So I sent the demo to the artist who'd done the picture, and once he heard it, he got back in touch with the record label and said, "You know, why the fuck don't you want to release this?" He said it was like better than stuff that they were releasing, you know, some of it. So they reviewed the situation, had a listen to the end product, and then they said he's right.
Aye.
So the third album was released again by the same label again. They've done all three.
That's good. So it's meant to be then.
Oh yeah.
Meant to be.
I'd probably. By choice, I'll probably do the same with the next one, even though we could do with a Kickstarter thing to get some funds in and that sort of thing.
Tonight's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward. I've seen the other two bands before, so I know they are going to impress me, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to impress me as well. From what I hear in the sound check there, that's quite a powerful voice there.
It's kicking. Yeah,
I'm liking it.
Oh, not the voice. The song's kicking. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Oh yeah.
The sounded lively.
And you've even got your own table of groupies down the stair, which is brilliant.
They followed us up from Cumbrian, yeah.
Yeah, I was chatting to them at the bar. I might phone the wife and see if I can bring one home.
Thanks, John.
Excellent. Good luck with that.
I'll see what I can do. But yeah,
well,
thanks.
Five of us would be Big Dirty Shazza.
Right. You do know that I'm going to go down the stairs now and say, which one's Dirty Shazza? Right. I've just done an interview. Who's Dirty Shazza? That's going to be done. That's going to be a Snapchat video. Right. Thanks very much, lads.